Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Babbling Irons match preview with myself, Mike, and Sloth today. Huge game. Back in Europa League action for the second time in 3 years. Obviously, we had the Conference League last year as well. Feels good to be back in Europa League knockouts. Playing Freiburg again. Obviously, they were in our group. So we kind of already know what to expect and how to approach the game. We obviously won both fixtures. We won the first leg away 2-1 and we won the home leg 2-0. So the players should be absolutely confident for this one. We have to make sure we manage this away leg very well, but also don't go too cautious because it could backfire. So, yeah, we're going to get into the breakdown. Just to start with, lads, when we played Freiburg, obviously earlier this season, what were your thoughts on them as an opposition in comparison to what we did on the analysis for the previews last time? Because I know we were very much in the camp of they'll take risks. They'll try and play out from the back, but they will give us chances because they're not the best at it. And I think that definitely showed in the matches we played against them. So, what was your kind of initial verdict of them from the two matches we played with them so far?
Well, I think they look pretty tidy. I mean, the difference is that they had quite a few injuries when we played them, both legs, and they've recently got their captain back as well. I think he had an arm injury. I think that's what I read it was, but they got him back for the Bayern game, and obviously they had a great result there. And we'll go into that a little bit later, but I think they looked pretty sharp at times. The key thing is that we didn't have Kudus for those games, and when you look at the impact of the Alvarez coming in and Kudus playing, I think we really should be confident going in, but we it's just about tapering that and not getting too carried away.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, they had that great result against Bayern Munich, who aren't particularly in form at the moment, drawing to the weekend. So they're going to be confident.
Let's not read too much into that because Bayern have been absolutely shocking.
Exactly. I think for Freiburg this season, just as kind of an overview, they're currently sitting just above mid-table, and these are kind of the overall statistics compared to us so far. So they've played 24, scored 32. This is just the league. So they've scored 32, conceded 44, and assists don't really matter. Comparing that to us, we've scored 11 more goals than them in a few more games, and the goals conceded are kind of on par. So it's actually quite similar ish in terms of how they've been defensively and how we've been defensively, and also from an attacking perspective, they haven't really set the world alight, but they do create chances and they do score goals. I think they're averaging around 1.5 xg per game in the league, so they will create chances, and we need to be alert defensively. And I think that's something we're still not seeing enough. We've had two really good results against Brentford and Everton, but defensively, we still weren't good enough. I think we were leaking chances way too easily. And in a knockout game like this, it could swing the other way and you could be out of, it could be 2-0, 3-0 by the time you blink. So how do we approach this one? Because it's a fixture we've already done. It's a fixture we've already won away from home. But it's going to be slightly different this time. We can't expect the same game, the same pattern. We scored pretty early on in that fixture, and then managed to get a set piece as well to take the lead. So how would you guys approach this game?
Look, we're talking about David Moyes' team. It's going to be the same as it always is. We're going to look to try and be resilient, which is an oxymoron in itself. When you think about West Ham this season, resiliency is not something West Ham have been able to do, despite trying to set up to be resilient.
Yeah.
We're going to try and play on the counter-attack. We're going to look to try and exploit the fact that Salah, who's a very good right wing back from an attacking point of view, he's going to be pushing forward quite advanced, looking to try and kind of score. See, he scored in their home game against us to put them 1-0 up at the time. He's a really good player, really decent player. I think we're going to look to try and put Paqueta just essentially sit behind him to get the ball. We're also going to look to utilise Kudus for that really quick counter-attack. But it's Moyes, and it's going to be your typical setup. Look to kind of draw them onto you, hit them on the counter-attack. It is a concern how many chances we leaked against Everton. Again, if it wasn't for some was sublime saves from Areola. They could have been out of sight by half time, and even in second half before we kind of got ourselves back into it. And I think the stats show we've conceded, I think, bar Sheffield United, the most shots of any club this year. Obviously, Areola's save percentage is 75%. I think it's the highest. But again, he's not going to play. It's going to be Fabianski playing, because Fabianski is our kind of reserve goalkeeper.
Well, I was going to say that. Do you think he will go with Fabianski?
Yeah, I think he did it last year, didn't he? Anyway, with Areola. Areola would always play in the cup games. Fabianski would always play in the league games, regardless of form. So I think it's going to be the same.
Honestly, I think it will depend. I think if we get to the knockout rounds, if we get further in the knockout rounds and we get to like the quarterfinals or the semi-finals, then I think it will be a case of it's form dependent. If one of them makes a silly mistake, so if Fabianski makes a bit of a clanger, then I think the next game you will see a change, because in terms of us pushing for the league, then we may well finish in a good, strong position. But the best chance we have of kind of securing Europe is probably going to be winning a European competition, which is very ambitious. But the best way you do that is with your best side. And I'm sorry, Fabianski isn't in that.
Yeah, we've got to take our responsibility for ourselves. I think there's a lot of talk. We put out a tweet about our last run in, and there's been a lot of talk about but with other results and other kind of positions of clubs, Champions League could be down to 5th. There could be an extra Europa League place. There could be an extra conference place. But it's all like, but these are all ifs, buts, and maybes. And there's also all of those permutations could go the opposite direction, and we don't see that. So we have to kind of be the masters of our own destiny and actually try to win, either win this tournament, which is going to be an incredible ask, considering two of the teams in here are leaguing their own leagues, are playing some of the most incredible stuff when we talk about Bayer Leverkusen. So it's going to be incredibly tough to win this tournament. It's a tournament, so anything can happen.
Exactly. I think that's the main part, isn't it? It's a tournament, and we didn't expect to go as far as we did when we beat Seville and Lyon, and we probably should have beat Frankfurt in the semis. But we don't know what the draw is going to happen. We can't really look past Freiburg right now, because it's not going to be an easy fixture at all. I'm happy that we've got the away leg first. I always think there's an advantage to the team that has the home leg second, and I think that definitely played a part when we played Frankfurt. I think that was to our disadvantage in the end, but it's small things like that I think mentally will help. I think the way David Moyes will want to set up away from home, it kind of works for this kind of European knockout football, in my opinion, especially over 2 legs, especially if you're away first, because you can kind of get away with that pragmatic approach. I don't think the fans are going to expect us to go there and blitz them in terms of possession and dominate the ball, because it's just not going to happen.
Maybe don't use the term blitz.
yeah, maybe not. Bad choice of word. But
I mentioned the war once. I think I got away with it.
Yeah, exactly. Lost my trail of thought. But let's look at the difference between the attacking statistics between the two clubs so far this season in each of their leagues, because again, they're averaging 1.3 goals per game. We're at 1.6. You can kind of just see there that they are creating some big chances. They're creating 2.5 big chances per game. We're at 2.1. They're missing 1.5. We're missing 1.1. So they are pretty similar to us in terms of what they've actually created so far this season. We've been slightly better. And obviously we very much rely on counterattacks. What was interesting to see with Freiburg is actually their possession stats aren't that high either. They're kind of averaging around 47% in the league. So we're a bit lower at 41%, which is, you make of it what you will, but I think they're happy without the ball as well. So allowing them to have more of the ball in a game like this could also play in our favor to hit them on the counter attack, because as we mentioned before, they'll take risks and they will leave gaps when they go forwards.
I think me and Sloss mentioned it last time as well. It's sometimes with a team that likes to play out from the back that has maybe a mistake in them, or they're not as maybe technically proficient as other teams, and again, like us, maybe don't have the ball as much, that actually you can lull them into making those mistakes and forcing errors as they try and play out from the back. If you look at what we did against Brentford, that was such a surprise. We actually pushed up quite high and was quite aggressive, but again, we allowed them to play out from the back. It's not necessarily what Brentford always do. They can be quite direct at times. I think if you can sometimes lull a team in that respect, allow them to make not necessarily settle in terms of a real kind of pattern and style, but allow them to kind of have a bit of confidence, try and play it around, that they're willing to take those risks and then pounce. Then I think that's when you can kind of expose them. They are a team that will take a risk whilst playing out from the back. So we've got to be ready to seize on those, but we can't be passive. That's the thing. I don't mind us not engaging all the time, but you can't be passive.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's kind of got to be that's just a basic thing for us. If that happens, then we'll lose 2 or 3-0. If we stand off too much, we'll lose 2 or 3-0. But that's not because Freiburg are good. Because look, they've been very poor this season. They concede a lot of chances. That would just be because we have performed terribly, and that would be a repeat of the Olympiacos level of performance. I don't expect that from us. I think we'll go there and I think we'll probably get a result. I'm kind of confident, but I think the issue for us will be, do they get a goal? And I think they're much more likely to do that if we start Fabianski. That's not me putting Fabianski down. I just think Ariola's a much better keeper, and I think we'll score at least 1 goal, because they don't have a particular standout player at the back. I mean, we can pick and choose between quite decent players, and I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that Aguerd, Zuma, and Mavropanos would quite easily walk into their starting 11. It would be a case of they are strong centre backs by Freiburg standard, and I've got a feeling that if we go there and any one of Kudus and Bowen perform, because I think Paqueta will perform regardless, that he'll be fired up for it. But I think if either of them perform and they finish, then we get a goal or 2.
Yeah, but just before we go on to how we want to see us line up, especially focusing on that front 3, because we saw a shift against Everton that actually played into our hands with Paqueta going central. So definitely want to get your guys' opinion on that. But just tapping onto that defensive side of stuff. So this is how we compare with those. Again, it's relative to the league. So clean sheets, they've only kept 7. We've kept 5. The goals conceded per game, again, very similar. They've got 1.8. Slightly higher than ours. Ours is a 1.7. So again, make of that what you will. A few errors. We've definitely made more errors, but yeah, you can kind of see there as well that they're making less saves than us. So we've been slightly better defensively in terms of the actual goals conceded, but we've definitely, as we've said time and time again, we're conceding a lot more shots. So it's kind of relative.
What's interesting as well is that they've had less saves, less errors leading to shots, less errors leading to goals as well. So he says that they may concede a lot of shots. However, they clearly are speculative ones because they hold a good shape and they force teams to shoot from areas where they're not going to have a high percentage or a good chance on goal. Whereas we are clearly conceding far too much space or far too many opportunities in which to shoot and get a clear shot on goal that is forcing the goalkeeper to make saves. And also our concentration levels are clearly not at the required level, because that's really where errors are coming from. Errors is arguably he has to be because there's concentration problems and errors, and we've seen that this year that there have been concentration errors, losing players, not marking, so on and so forth. Sloppy back passes. So there has been real errors in our play, and some of that has been I would put down to our style, because it has been at times so laboured in how we have come out that we've lost concentration with sloppy passes. Because
I don't know if we can put it down to that, because
if you look at Crystal Palace game,
take responsibility and stay concentrated.
Crystal Palace game, a lot of that was because of how laboured we were, and we made an amount of Palace sloppy goal.
No,
I don't know about that.
That's a centre back who's not been given the minutes, particularly in comparison to Aguerd and Zuma. That's a centre back who's not been given the minutes, trying to do something, and it doesn't pay off because he's not match sharp. I think that's harsh.
I think it's a bit of both in that one, because that one, the game just lulled to such a point, it just got sloppy. Players weren't.
If I'm being brutal, and if we don't get a result there and it backfires, this could blow up in my face, but they're not a side of Crystal Palace's quality. Like that sounds that I know that sounds real. They're not. Look.
Don't know about that one.
Well, okay. So look, Crystal Palace have Eze. They have Elise.
They're best individuals.
I'm teasing when I'm going off, but no, they
but
Mateta.
So Mateta, I'm a big fan of him. And I was when he was in Germany, when he was playing for Mainz. You know, he was scoring for fun in Germany. And how's he adapted to the Premier League? Not very well. Yeah, and look, that is, you know, partly down to the fact that they had Roy Hodgson. But when we're looking at Freiburg as a whole, I think we can go in confident because they don't have players of significant quality in comparison to the ones that we play week in, week out.
We have to go there confident. I mean, we've played them twice already. We've beat them twice. As you mentioned, their quality, like if you look at it objectively, our squad is much better than theirs. The players we have are of higher quality, and we should be winning the match. Or we should be winning the tie. You know, full stop. We will be favourites for this, so we have to take that mentality into the game. So, how would you like to see it set up? Because we can expect there to be probably the same lineup we've seen for the last two games, barring the Fabianski Areola switch. How would you play that front three? Because we've seen Bowen score a hat-trick from centre forward against Brentford, but then we've seen Paqueta be extremely impactful when he goes central against Everton when we shifted it and Kudus came out to the left, Bowen went out to his natural side on the right. Mike, I know that's how you mentioned before you'd like us to set up. Obviously, Paqueta scored a very nice header in this fixture earlier this season as well, playing in that central role. So how would you like to see that front three set up from the start?
I think when we're playing against more burly centre backs, I think Paqueta is the more logical choice because his hold up play is, let's be honest, it is actually exceptional.
Yeah,
we do lose maybe some of that link with Emerson. However, Kudus is obviously a very adequate replacement down that side, and we saw again the cross that he put in for Souček was of good quality, and he can play there and he'll come in and he'll link with Paqueta, and I think will allow Paqueta to drift. Same with Bowen. I think, like I say, personally, when we're playing against a more robust central defensive pairing or centre back kind of shape, I just think we have to look to have Paqueta more central because then he can pull those strings and again he can take those knocks a bit more. And his hold up play is exceptional. So that's personally how I would do it. Again, I don't think it should be hard and fast. It should be free form. If you think back in the day with again, obviously not the same quality, but the Ronaldo, Rooney, and Tevez front three, they all kind of started in kind of similar position. It used to be Ronaldo out on the left, Tevez technically on the right, and then Rooney through the centre. But that would change, and then there was constant rotation, and that makes it very difficult to defend against because all of a sudden you don't have someone to actually mark. You then, as a front three, you move where the space is, and then you just between you have really good rotation. I think that's arguably how we do it. I prefer Paqueta central just to occupy the centre backs, but as the game progresses, there's consistent rotation between them, and they're all looking to kind of find those pockets of space in which to really exploit and to essentially leave that defense a bit bamboozled because you don't know who to pick up for any 1 minute. And I think that's ideally how I'd like to see it.
Sloth, are you the same?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Emerson and Paqueta link up really well. It's been one of the highlights of the season for me watching them on that left-hand side.
Yeah.
The issue going forward, I think, is going to be going forward is going to be the key. And if Paqueta's firing and he is able to link up with Emerson overlapping as well, I think we'll create chances. The issue with him is just how much freedom do we give him, I think. But he's shown that he's more than capable of doing that, of being given the reins and the freedom, but also staying quite disciplined and being able to drift inside when he can. So that's how I'd like to see him start on the left and given that bit more freedom.
Yeah, I think it again, as you kind of alluded to before, Mike. Just let them be free, let them kind of roam where they need to, find where the gaps are. They're still intelligent players. Paqueta will find gaps. Kudus will know where to be. Bowen will make the runs. Like they'll be able to figure it out. And yeah, I think having that fluidity as well, it just does cause disruption to that back line. So very quickly, let's wrap this up. score predictions, quick fire. What are you going with for this first leg?
2-1. I can't. You can never. I can't just. I can't see us not conceding as always at the moment.
Win or loss?
Well, I think we can win. I'm going to be confident, but I do think we will concede. It just is a common thread for us.
Slough?
You know, I went confident at the weekend. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go 3-1.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to go 1-1 because I followed you last time, Slough, on the clean sheet vibe, and I'm not doing it again. I can't do it again for this season. I think we'll draw 1-1, take it back home, and finish the job there. But I hope we do get the win because it would be a massive win to take back to the London Stadium going into next week. So, yeah, fingers crossed we can get off to a good start in the round of 16. Massive game. Hopefully we do progress past this stage and into the quarterfinals. First up is Freiburg away on Thursday. So yeah, hopefully we can win that. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And lads, until next time.
Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.